This would be the most annoying matchup I've ever had to make in my YouTube life. But I have found a way to get the result we need, and so we are going to see who wins between the two. So follow me as I talk about who wins between the Guardian versus the Tenno. I'm going to use some rules so that we don't have any issues going into the fight. Rule 1, no personal attacks. People are just here to see who wins the fight between the Guardian and the Warframes, so we're going to keep it to specifically the Guardian and the Warframes. Rule 2 is mostly for newcomers. 90% of my newcoming viewers to the channel are all unsubscribed, so I'm also going to assume that they're new to power scaling. So for the sake of the new viewers coming to the channel, we are going to cap Destiny and Warframe to 5th dimensional and directly cross-scale the two to avoid 40 to 50 other debates we'd have to inevitably cover. Rule 3. I don't know how we're in a day and age to where you have to worry about who lies to you for power scaling, so for the sake of the newcomers who also worry about the objectivity, we are going to specifically avoid using subjective terminology, keeping the battle honest and accurate so as to give an accurate result of who wins between the two. That way we don't have to worry about any biases at the end of the day. We'll start with stats. We're cross-scaling both series to 5th dimensional, so we're going to use the Man in the Wall and the Witness to simplify the cross-scale. By using the Man in the Wall and the Witness, we can simply say both main characters downscale from their respective antagonists. That way, we can simply say they're both 5th dimensional and immeasurable speed, so you don't have to waste time that I've already spent in other videos covering this, because I know your time is very important to you. Let's cover everyday Tenno versus everyday Guardians before we continue. What we'll consider as an everyday Tenno is simply someone who downscales from the main character of Warframe, but is still a Tenno and uses a Warframe. For an everyday Guardian, it's the same thing. They downscale from the main character on some way, shape, or form, and they have less weaponry, because only the main character has all the exotics. So, let's determine who wins at this point. The Tenno are locked to using one Warframe. That means, if someone finds a solution to their Warframe which is a weakness, they can't just go and change to another Warframe to fix it. They're stuck on that one Warframe. Meanwhile, with the Guardians, they have access from anywhere to 3 to 4 to 5 different subclasses they can use. If someone has an answer to one subclass, they can swap to another subclass. For weaponry, it's not nearly as important because we don't know how much weaponry the everyday Tenno and the everyday Guardian has, so we'll say for weaponry / arsenal they're about equal. The real answer to who wins actually comes from the team composition, and I'll explain. Tenno consistently get into teams of 4, while Guardians consistently get into teams of 3 and 6. This means Guardians are facing enemies who can take on 3 of them, and Tenno are taking on enemies who can take on 4 of them. But then on the very high end of the echelon, within Guardian scaling, you have Guardians who can take on characters who can fight 6 of them, which is why they're in a fire team of 6. If you do the math, the Warframes are about in the middle of where Guardians scale. They scale above Guardians, who are in teams of 3, but they're way faster than them. Meanwhile, they're comparable to Guardians in teams of 6, but there's still a one-shot difference below those Guardians. As in, if their Warframe were to challenge that Guardian, they could empower themselves with their Light or Dark ability, grab the neck of that Warframe, and then snap it. So, where we arrive at is, the Tenno don't necessarily win, but they're not losers either. That's more or less the very easy result that you're looking for if you're looking to compare the Tenno to the Guardians and you cross-scale them and you put them in the same tier. Let's look at the Tenno's advantages first. Their training from the Guardians is different, so they specialize more in blitz tactics as ninja. This means they know how to start every encounter and end every encounter as quickly as possible with as minimal damage done to them as minimally as possible. They consistently lurk in the shadows, they stay in the air, they stay on the walls, they stalk you, they watch and look for a time to strike. They're not the ones who start the fight all the time, but they will always be the ones who finish it. The Tenno's ninja training won't give them the ability to one-shot the Guardian more times than the Guardian can one-shot them, but it will give the Tenno the opportunity to suddenly blitz their way into the Guardian's face using as minimal movement as possible. So they're going to have a superior movement advantage to make up for their lack of stats. The Tenno's second advantage is their Void powers. Specifically, they can make their Warframe fight the Guardian. If the Guardian were to grab the Warframe by the neck, they can teleport out of the Warframe and then try to hit the Guardian from behind, then go back inside the Warframe, meaning the Guardian will constantly be fighting a war on two fronts. That's not at all a small advantage. That's something you can use to make up for something like a 100 times stat difference between two characters. So, the Tenno's gonna have a way to keep up even though their stats will be lackluster. The Necromech hardly increases speed, if at all, although the stats of the Warframe will increase massively compared to base form. The Warframe stats using the Necromech should be about 10 times the Guardian in power. Vessels like Arthur are pretty busted. Vessels were created specifically to fight the man in the wall, so you can either scale the vessel to 100 times the Necromech or 100 times the Guardian. Either way, they're a massive one-shot difference above the Guardian, although their speed might be the same or slower. While the Guardian's stat advantage isn't so much the point here, it's the fact they can take so much greater one-shot attacks than the Tenno can. Meaning the Guardian could take a one-shot attack from someone that's literally 100 times stronger than the Guardian directly. Another advantage the Guardian has is their Strand. Strand gives the Guardian information analysis, and the Strand dimension allows the Guardian to see everything on the atomic level. They're going to see every action the Warframe is going to do or is currently doing, everything the Operator is going to do or is currently doing, everything the Necromech is going to do or is currently doing, or everything Arthur is going to do or is currently doing. The Guardian's information analysis is very, very potent. It's comparable to the Spider Sense if it was far stronger. The last advantage we'll give the Guardian is hacks. Their hacks are far greater in amount that they can use in a combat applicable situation compared to the Tenno. Not only that, if you killed their ghost, they would still have the two subclasses from Darkness remaining, along with all the other weaponry they have that don't require subclasses to use. Also, they have their super states that they can throw on top of their base form and then use amps on top of their supers. So who do I think wins? Let's get the annoying part out of the way. Tenno are ninjas. Guardians are soldiers. Ninjas train in a way that's different from how a soldier trains. The set of circumstances that benefit ninjas most greatly are going to be different than a set of advantages that benefit a soldier most greatly. That means there will be times where the Tenno beats the Guardian, and there will be times where the Guardian beats the Tenno, and there's going to be an indisputable way that both sides can kill each other and permanently kill each other. If we wanted to be generic and use standard battle assumptions, then who do I think wins? I think it's the Guardian, but let me explain. Soldiers are meant to be on the battlefield and fight for a very long time and eventually win. They train for those grueling, long 5 to 6 hour to even 1 day period battles, so they can go home, get ready, and go back into battle and do so again. The Tenno are completely different than the Guardians, who are soldiers. They train so they can find an angle that best suits them to blitz the battlefield, kill the most important enemy or set of enemies on that battlefield, then quickly get out. Even after giving the Operator 54 different Warframes, their ship, the Railjack, Arthur, the Necromech, and the K-Drive, along with all their other weapons, and the Archon crystals, and the mods, the answer is still the same. On paper, they are equal to the Guardian. However, out of the 54 Warframes they have, they can only pick one, and that one Warframe is going to make or break those first 5 minutes when they fight the Guardian. Ignoring that, even if you were to give the vessels and the Necromech to the Operator, the Guardian is still roughly equal to the Necromech using their own scaling. And then also, they can go Super State on top of their base form and then use Amps. And that's how you can just equal Arthur using the scaling along with the hacks. So, the Guardian should be able to win this 7 out of 10 times. Like, it sounds bad, but keep this in mind. Those 3 out of 10 times is the way an assassin strikes. That's potentially the most dangerous opportunity in the fight, where eventually the operator can figure out a way to put down the Guardian and then fully put down the Guardian. Because if they kill the Ghost and then find a way to kill the Guardian again after that, they will win the fight. It's just that it's much more believable to take the Guardian in this instance, because while the operator is smart, the Guardian is just as smart as them. So, there's no telling on who would kill the other first. It's just that, at the end of the day, you're probably going to pick the Guardian 7 out of 10 times than you would pick the operator. And that's my take. So this is like, what, my 5th, 6th time trying to make this video? This originally was supposed to be the end of the year project I made, but the Goku thing I want to do eventually over this. So, it's whatever. Anyhow, if this video gets like, what, 60 likes or so, I'll do a video on who the strongest Warframes are. Otherwise, that's all I really had to say. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe, because if you like, share, and subscribe to my content, and share it around to other people, that would help me a lot. Like, we're about to hit 2,000 subscribers, and I have another goal set for 2,100 subscribers, but that can only happen after we get past 2,000 subs. Anyhow, I hope y'all enjoyed your New Year's. My name is Nothing Important here, as you can probably guess from the name, and I'll see y'all later. Peace!